In 2023, the Māori economy was valued at $70 billion, and it's predicted to double by 2030. More Aotearoa organisations are needing to demonstrate cultural sensitivity and diversity in order to remain competitive. And overseas, we're seeing similar trends as indigenous economies become increasingly more influential. With me today to talk about the University of Auckland's newly designed MBA paper, Te Ao Māori Business, is Dr. Kiri Dell. Kia ora, Kiri. So this course is the first of its kind in New Zealand. Can you tell, for an absolute beginner, can you explain what Te Ao Māori is?
Te Ao Māori is a way of being in the world, a particular way related to kaupapa Māori, Māori philosophies and ideologies. So that typically means we relate to the land and the earth and to people in a very specific way.
And how does deepening one's understanding of Te Ao Māori help with their leadership strategies and in turn New Zealand businesses?
So when people deepen their understanding of Te Ao Māori, they broaden their perspectives on life in the world and in a very enriching way. And one of those ways might be, for example, your connection spiritually to the world, to the earth. Māori ways of being have a particular energy about them that harnesses these kind of spiritual dimensions. So that when you carry that kind of philosophy or dimension within you, that's going to impact the way you think about the world and the way you make decisions and how you treat people and how you treat the earth.
Yes, amazing. Can you give me some examples of some businesses or business leaders that do that in a beautiful way here?
Yeah, there's a number of businesses that are operating from a Te Ao Māori paradigm. The most obvious ones would be our runanga. We've got really successful iwi businesses happening at the moment. Ngāti Whātua Orake from this area, Ngaitahu, Waikato Tainui. These are all very prominent businesses within New Zealand. And they're all operating from a Te Ao Māori paradigm, all operating from kaupapa Māori centred, and just really showing the world that when you operate in that way, you can be commercially successful and do good as well.
What do you think it is about those Māori businesses that have made them so successful, do you think?
Some of our most prominent businesses are successful because of the kinship network or element that is imbued within that business. And when you have that in business, you've got this very tightly knitted bond and synergy with each other that just helps things to accelerate and move very quickly and in a particular way.
Is it trust? Is it deeper than trust? It's a connection. It's an emotional connection. How would you define that? Like, what is kin?
Just this incredible depth of connection that's going back generations, that is providing this momentum of strength that propels you to achieve your goals and aspirations. And it makes you incredibly resilient against any kind of shocks coming your way.
How then can Pākehā or other businesses fold in Te Ao Māori principles and be successful? They're not likely to have, and maybe I'm making an assumption by saying that, but they're not likely to have those same kinship roots because, of course, Māori businesses and Māori organisations come from a shared place of knowledge and understanding and terminology and all those other things. So how could the stuff they learn in your course enrich their businesses?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And that's the kind of stuff we'll discuss and tease out in the course. What value can non-Māori get from Māori concepts, ways of living and being? And what value is just so unique and special to Māori themselves that it's just a character or quality that belongs to them? And so we get to discuss and tease out where that value lies.
I understand. Sometimes cultural things, if you're coming at it from outside of the culture, can be intimidating, or it can make you whakamā, which is shy. Is the course going to be accessible to non-Māori?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it's going to be accessible to non-Māori. We're in a very interesting partnership dynamic in New Zealand with regards to the relationship of Māori in this country. So this is an opportunity for non-Māori to really embrace Māori, te ao Māori, kaupapa Māori. I come from a perspective of bridging, I guess, really helping non-Māori to bridge to te ao Māori and really understand what that philosophy means. Yeah.
Conceptually, what sort of things will you be teaching? Like co-governance or te tiriti or?
Yeah, we've got probably 3 major areas we'll deliver across the paper. One is around treaty settlements, why we have them, how they logistically occur, what that means, and how iwi have gone on to develop these incredible commercial entities from treaty settlements.
Yep.
The second component we'll look at is Māori innovation and entrepreneurship, and really harnessing and understanding this unique kind of spiritually driven, innovative aspect of Māori and how that is manifesting in the country. And the third one we'll look at is land-based businesses. So a lot of Māori resources and assets are tied to land ownership, and we'll have a look at how some of those businesses are rolling out.
Are you finding more and more businesses are demanding cultural competency of their leaders or their staff or their businesses? Like, is that a trend that you've heard about and noticed that might have brought about this paper being included in the MBA?
Yeah, there definitely is a trend moving towards more inclusiveness of te ao Māori, both in terms of philosophy and in terms of people as well. And I think that's because businesses know that when we include these aspects, it provides better outputs for those entities.
Sometimes spirituality can mean different things to different cultures, and you've mentioned it a few times here. What does spirituality in Māoridom look like? What does that look like, and how could that be accessible and useful to everybody that takes the course? Big question.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the aspects of te ao Māori is what I call is this acceptance of unseen energies. And those are termed things like mana, mauri, wairua. These are all very normalised energies within our culture, so we don't have to question them. And these, when you look at the world from this energy perspective, that helps to shape the way you're going to think about operating in that world and decisions you're going to make. When you have, like, for Māori, for example, which is a particular life essence, when you have a lens of Māori across the world, across your operations, across your workforce, you're looking at how your decisions are going to enhance the Māori of a particular river, tree, even person.
Yeah.
So it just shapes your thinking in a different way.
And of course, conversely, when businesses get it wrong, it can lead to things like cultural appropriation, and would you say that's true also? Like without the understanding of those lenses, it's like an added layer of, like it enhances your toolkit as a leader, would you say?
Yeah, there's a risk there of culturally misappropriating some of the concepts and ideas. The most important thing first is that a person has good intention.
Yeah.
And I find in our country most people do.
Yeah.
They do have good intention, and they can still get it wrong even with that goodwill. Learning about Te Ao Māori is not 10 steps I'm going to give you. It's not a prescribed process. Learning about Te Ao Māori means developing an intimacy with Māori people and their ways of being, and that grows and develops and evolves over time. So I think that's the thing people get wrong, is that they're just going to have these 10 steps and they're going to be, just tick them all off, but it doesn't work like that.
Would you say at the end of the course people might have a bit more confidence about showing respect for Māori communities and being perhaps less afraid to collaborate with them? Is that one of your hopes?
I think at the end of the course, most of the cohort are going to be quite surprised at the history of this country and how it actually has impacted and affects us to the present day. So they're going to come away with a lot more in-depth understanding of the trajectory that this country has come through. And through that, they'll develop empathy, and that empathy will help them to relate a lot better to Te Ao Māori and Māori people.
I was thinking two things. I was thinking how amazing and beautiful it is that we've got to the place that we value Te Ao Māori principles enough for this to be the beginning of a student's journey through the MBA in this leadership pillar, that your course is one of the first ones that students will take. And the other thing I was thinking about was how that must, I guess, speak to the value, the changing value that of cultural competency that students must have in order to lead well.
Yeah, there is an increasing desire or aspiration of New Zealand in general to want to engage and be a part of Te Ao Māori. And I think that speaks to this increasing sense of partnership between Māori and Pākehā and wanting to progress ourselves as a nation. So to me, this paper is reflecting that. The fact that it's the first time it's been included in the MBA is an absolutely significant achievement and important milestone.
This is the first year that students around the country will be able to join in your MBA or this MBA because it's now online. Did you enjoy coming up with the curriculum? Did you enjoy putting the course together and thinking about what important things to put in? And how was that experience for you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed putting the course together because these are topics I think about a lot. I think a lot about what it means to be Māori, what is the essence of being Māori, and how does that integrate and play out within our nation and within the globe as well. So it was really enjoyable to be able to put this program together.
When people do papers like this that are perhaps for the first time being exposed to this knowledge, do you see like authentic transformation? Can you talk to me about that inside them? So they're being exposed to new information for the first time and leaning into that. Like, have you experienced that?
Absolutely, yes. So I think the main quality that's developed is empathy, and that's all a person needs to really be with someone else, is to really try to understand and feel the situation and the context that they're coming from. And so once students complete this course, they will have more empathy for the Māori situation and context that will help them to go forward into their own careers and developing further relationships with Māori.
I'm always surprised by how many leaders get so excited by some of our concepts and go, I want to do that naturally, but here's a name for it and here's the whakapapa of it, and I get to be part of that, right? Like, people can get quite excited by the knowledge. Do students have to have any presupposed cultural knowledge or be able to speak te reo Māori or anything at all? Is it designed for someone to step into it? And is there support for them if they feel intimidated or unconfident?
Yeah, so right at the beginning of the course, we do like a stock take of where people are at in their journey with Te Ao Māori. And so we get a kind of an overall picture of the class and whether they are still quite... just how deeply engaged they are in Te Ao Māori. So then we can pitch the content to suit that cohort. So it's all accounted for.
There were some concepts that you used earlier that would be just to make it accessible for everyone else. It would be nice to hear your definitions of those. So one of those was kaupapa. How would you describe what kaupapa is? And I'm guessing the students will get to understand each of these concepts in deeper value when they come to your course.
Yeah, kaupapa or kaupapa Māori means purposefully Māori. So kaupapa means anything from topic, intention, purpose, subject. So when you hear kaupapa Māori, that means we are being purposefully Māori, by Māori, for Māori, is the catchphrase.
Beautiful. What were some of the other ones? There was
mana. Yep.
And wairua.
Mana is a quality that is often translated as a person's charisma or power or influence. I like to describe mana as a person's awesomeness. And so that quality of mana is how do we enhance, manifest our personal awesomeness. It's often used, mana's often used as a leadership quality because people with great mana tend to have a lot of influence.
Yep.
And
wairua?
Wairua is translated often as spirit, as a spiritual essence or energy that is around us. For example, when you think or feel of maybe someone who's passed away, you might refer to that as their wairua. You're feeling their wairua.
Let's talk about that, because a little bit earlier on when I very first asked you about Te Ao Māori, you talked a lot about energy. Energy in a business sense or a leadership sense can mean how people feel when they walk into a space and how others make them feel. Would you say that was true? When you are out there in the world, you need to understand everything around you, what is above you, what is in front of you, who is beside you and who is behind you. And Te Ao Māori is about understanding the whole context that you're operating from. And so you're less likely to be blindsided when you have this wider awareness of the environment around you. So when you move into new spaces, that's what you're taking with you, is this increased awareness of everything that's going on. Amazing. How does one distinguish between appreciation and appropriation? So often you get people starting to appreciate, that they'll start from this place of appreciation and they'll do all these really nice, wonderful things for Te Ao Māori and Māori people. That often moves into what I call appropriation, because they start to figure out there's actually value for them to utilise and extract from Te Ao Māori. And so whenever a non-Māori is gaining in their, let's say, their career or life from Te Ao Māori,
they always have to question in themselves why they are continuing to be in that space.
So I am guessing that perhaps as part of your paper you will give your students some of these things to think about so that they can go away and do their own exploration and think of things in a more intentional way, and they can take that into their leadership strategies.
Yeah, I always say that we need Pākehā to support Māori to be Māori.
What advice do you have for people who are threatened by the idea that they have to now consider this whole other worldview if they're to conduct business here?
Yeah, well, the reality is this is a country founded upon Māori and Pākehā relationships, so we have an obligation to each other to know each other, and that needs to be the starting point, that we need to work together to progress ourselves as a nation. Te Ao Māori is not a topic, it's not a subject like economics or marketing. It's a lived reality of people, and the people of this land. It's very specific to this land. It can only happen and occur in New Zealand, so that's what makes it very special and unique.
Beautiful. Many thanks to Dr. Kiri Dell. If you found this interesting, feel free to check out the innovative and world-class MBA at the University of Auckland, where this topic and many other important issues relevant to modern business are explored.